here's Brody Brazil.
I thought this video might be interesting to do and pull back the curtain a little bit on something that I've known for, more than 20 years now working in this business, but I'm not sure that the average sports fan truly understands the circle of trust in professional sports. First off, circle, trust, what are we talking about here? What exactly is in this circle? There's a lot of different things. I put some potentials here on the screen. Injury information, like how's somebody actually doing? What are they dealing with? Why can't they perform up to a certain level? When will they be better? Injury information is valuable, and that's why a lot of times it's secretive, especially in hockey and the National Hockey League. Sensitive strategy, how's a team going to go about getting better, make changes, roster decisions, lineup decisions, all of that stuff game-related. Of course, you want to keep that a relative secret, so that goes in the circle of trust. How about bigger picture things, contract discussions and financial moves that a team might make? That also lies usually in the circle of trust. And this one might sound crazy, but it's also not impossible. Possible infighting. Player with player with somebody in the front office, two families that don't like each other. I mean, look, it's a people issue when you talk about sports, and sometimes people just don't get along. All of that stuff usually lives, in the circle of trust. These things happen. They don't always or hardly ever necessarily get out, but they happen and they exist in the circle of trust, which I'm going to now try and explain here and visually depict for you. So starting with the nucleus, right? You've got the players, you've got the coaches of any given team, you've got trainers who know things, and you've got executives. I'm talking about the general manager, assistant general manager. You've got high-level people here in that nucleus who pretty much know everything going on. People talk in the clubhouse, in the dressing room, on the team bus, airplane, wherever. That nucleus has a pretty good idea because they're always there and they see everything behind closed doors. So they understand almost everything that's going on. But also existing in that circle of trust are families, because players, are human. They talk to their families. How about scouts who work for the team, other front office members who work for the team? They hear things and they're around things and they understand things. Even broadcasters, and to a large degree, are in the circle of trust. Why is that? You're on the team plane, you're on the team bus, you stay at the team hotel. You see things after hours, before games, whenever, that you're privileged to see and to understand that you're in the circle of trust. And if it's not something that's supposed to get out, you're going to exist in that circle of trust. It's just part of the way things go. And this happens with all pro sports teams, in all leagues, in all sports, and across a lot of levels too. I'm not just talking about the major leagues. I'm talking about the minor leagues too. So that's what's in the circle of trust. Here's what's just outside that circle. Pundits, right? People who go on a YouTube channel and talk about a team, generally speaking, or a radio show for a lot of different times. Other media, print media, fans, other teams. And it's no disrespect to say, oh, you're not in the circle of trust. It's not some badge of honor. It's just where most of these other people lie. They're not around it a lot. They don't see all of the inside. They don't see how the sausage is made. So they can't really be in the circle of trust. And sometimes information gets out there and it stops. It stays within that circle. It gets disseminated a lot inside that circle of trust. Everybody in the circle knows, but nobody breaks. And it doesn't get out and it doesn't go public. That valuable information. Other times, it leaked. Everybody knows it. Sometimes the leak is intentional. You've got somebody inside the circle who's like, you know what? I'm letting this one out. And sometimes it was unintentional. Oops, shouldn't have repeated that to the wrong ears. Now they're repeating it. They were on the outside, and you're not getting that one back. But I should also explain here, there is a correlation between how close you are to a team. I don't necessarily mean inside the circle or outside of it. There's a correlation to hot takes that somebody in the media might have versus the distance they remain from the team. And what do I mean by that? Well, again, we start at the nucleus. That nucleus is the team. And on that kind of inner ring, inside that inner circle, are those who cover the team on a beat coverage basis. Like they're around every practice and games, and they're face-to-face with the athletes and the coaches in the locker room, in the clubhouse, in the dressing room, wherever. They're the ones that show up to actually do their stories. And generally speaking, there's a lot of responsibility there because if you're going to show up, you're also not going to turn around and bash somebody wrongly in the newspaper or on social media or on your radio show or on your YouTube channel. And it's not to say that you can't do that, and sometimes that doesn't happen. Generally speaking, if you're around it, you understand what's going on a little bit more, you might respect it a little bit more, and you have kind of that duty to present information and be responsible for it all at the very same time. That's a little bit different. Actually, that's quite different from those who don't show up and aren't around the team and don't show their face and for whatever reason want to stay 1, 10, or 100 miles away from the actual team that they're covering. Because it's easier to speak more openly and more freely when you're definitely not in that circle, that inner circle of media coverage, beat media coverage. You're far on the outside. You're kind of aggregating all the information. You're making up your own opinions. And sometimes they're right. And sometimes those hot takes are fine. But you get to be a lot more spicy than those who are in it and around it. And sometimes this is where you see some of the most wild things said, some of the less responsible things said. And again, I'm not always saying they're fully right or fully wrong, but the temperature and the spiciness goes way up the farther away you get from a team because there's just less accountability. You don't have to show up back in that locker room, that clubhouse, that dressing room and show your face after you've said some of the things that are just on your mind without actually doing the groundwork to get it firsthand. Anyway, hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to end this by saying, well, any kind of media, whether you're around the team, whether you're not around the team, whether sometimes you are, sometimes you aren't, here's what I would say for all media. This is a good list of guidelines for everybody. You should be informational, right? Like, be of value to your audience. Let them know what's going on. Give them the best pictures. Paint the best pictures possible. Be insightful. Of course, you can add your own opinions or put together things that you saw and try and make sense of them or things you know to be true to better tell a story. But also be responsible. Think about what you're saying and who might be digesting it. And are you sure this is actually how things are? Are you taking things a little bit too personal in what you're presenting or delivering? Be sensible with this. Again, sometimes I think the inclination in our culture is to spice things up because the hot takes are what's going to go viral instead of the sensible takes, which might be better received and appreciated, and they might even be more accurate. But the hot takes are the ones that sell best. And I think last but not least, this encompasses everything else. Just be accountable. Whether you're there a bunch, whether you're not there a bunch, whether you're in the circle of trust or whether you're on the outside of the circle of trust, just be accountable for the things you say and report and your actions and your perspectives. Can you explain them? Can you defend them if it actually came to something like that? So yeah, just wanted to explain the pro sports circle of trust. Did you know about that? Let me know in the comments section below. I mean, I guess that's kind of obvious, but I don't know that I've never seen anybody really spell it out like that. And again, I'm not even being specific here. I have existed in all of that for multiple decades, but I don't know that it's really been depicted that way as I just showed you. So anyway, you made it here to the end of the video. Thumbs up for that. I greatly appreciate it. That'll help me in this video and this channel. And also, if you've never seen me before, you're just coming across this channel, that's great. I'm glad you found me. Make sure you hit that subscribe button down below so I can definitely see you back here next time.